And our guest today is none other than Timothy Bond. He is an author. He is the founder of True Vine Publishing Company. And he's also the host of the Right Change podcast to highlight authors and discuss the publishing industry. As an author, he has written numerous books. Most notably, Fall in Love with the Struggle. We're going to talk about that a little bit. Making the Best of Life's Worst. And he has ghostwritten 5 books that have gone on to sell thousands of copies. Through his company, True Vine, he has assisted over 100 independent authors. I may be one of them in the future added to the list. Write, produce, and publish their own books. True Vine's clients span from the U.S., Jamaica, the Bahamas, and Switzerland. True Vine Books has been read around the world. Timothy's life mission is to inspire and to empower and produce. Everybody, audience, show some love for my brother, Timothy Bond.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
When I read your bio, I was like, man, I'm gonna put all this in here because I want people
Okay,
to know
okay.
who I'm talking to. Yeah. So how's it going? You're in Tennessee.
Yes, sir. Nashville, Tennessee, born and raised,
All
man.
right, all right, all right. Hey, man. I might have to get there. My wife kind of kind of wants to relocate there in the future, just
Really?
or like there or Charlotte, just because the cost of living in LA. But I was like,
Oh,
hey, you
yeah.
gotta wait till they calling me. When they start calling me for acting gigs, then we
Yeah.
can move. Until
Well, what? A lot of stuff is going through Atlanta now. You may want to, get in Nashville while it's still cheap, and then
hey,
you can drive down to Atlanta really easy.
how far of a drive is that? About 3 hours?
About 3 hours, 3.5 hours. Yep.
I see. I'm glad my wife she ain't here right now, so because she be like, hey, let's go now.
Yeah.
She'll be ready to roll. So,
Yeah.
how's it going? Is it getting a little cooler there right now?
It is. I love the cool weather, man. That's my favorite time of the year. I was born in August, but I do not like the heat. So that's why I'm saved because I do not deal with the heat.
Yeah, me and you both, man. I love Jesus, man. I don't have time to be dealing with being
Right.
hot in like burning. Like, I don't trying to deal with that part.
Right. Right.
So, but man, I'm very grateful that we've connected, and beautiful friends of mine and yours. Turner
Mhm.
and Philonise Nash connected us. So, shout
Yes.
out to the Nashes. We love y'all. But
Yeah.
right now,
Absolutely.
this is about you and what God is doing through you, my brother. True Vine Publishing. Can you briefly just kind of share with us what drove you to start this publishing company?
Well, my story of starting a publishing company is actually it's kind of a entrepreneur by accident type story, right?
Okay.
Throughout my life, I was raised by entrepreneurs. My parents were entrepreneurs, so we always had the notion that if you want to start a business, you do it, right? We've just not been brought into the mindset of being workers. Now, of course, I worked, right? Because I have a family, so I wasn't going to play the starving artist role. But, my mind has always been, what can I do for myself? So my gift is writing. As a kid, I started writing poetry. And so one day I decided I want to publish my poetry. Of
Okay.
course, I didn't want to go through the process of trying to find a publisher, which takes years to do, trying to find an agent, which takes years, you
Yes.
know. So I decided, of course, I'm going to do it myself.
Hmm.
Um, I wanted my book to look legitimate. I was working as an editor at a publishing company at the time. So I had the contacts to help me make the book look good as well as the proper editing. I knew all of the details that needed to go into production, registration. And so when I put my book out, it
Yeah.
was so it was so well done. People started coming to me, to do their book as well. Now,
Oh.
the funny thing is, I put a company name on the back of it because I wanted my book to look legitimate, right? I wanted to look like, oh, this guy got published by an amazing publishing company, evidently.
Yeah.
Well, little did I know that God had plans for that company, and I'm telling you, I've never done any major marketing campaigns, never done commercials. The company has grown by word of mouth, and like you said earlier, we've gone outside of the country. We've published for pretty much northwest, south, and east of the country, of the U.S. And now I'm doing it full time, and God is really expanding my boundaries and my borders, to the point where, yeah, we're experiencing growing pains, right? But that's a good thing because that means I need to bring more people in. So God has just been blessing, man.
Oh man, I love to hear that. That you got me very inspired just listening to how you started it, but uh,
Yeah.
where you're going with it has me even more excited because I'm a firm believer. Like, when you score a touchdown,
Mhm.
you act like you've been there before, and
Yeah.
it's not you celebrate it, but you don't live in that celebration. You keep going
Right.
forward because that's the
Right.
only way true growth can happen. And what you
Yeah.
have shown from what you said is progression,
Yeah.
constantly things continuing to grow. After one success, we just keep going to the next. We got a first down. Okay, let's go to the next one because we're gonna need another first down to keep scoring to score,
Right.
right? I love football, so you might hear a lot of
I
analogies.
can tell. I can tell.
I love football.
I think, Rodney, if I could say this, man, what I really praise God about, and what I really try to push about my story in particular, is you don't know what God has for you until you step beyond that place of fear, right?
Mhm.
Like I said, I had no intentions of publishing books for people around the globe. I just wanted to put my book out, right? And I believe that I flow with God's unction. I do. I believe when I feel something that says do this, I do it, and then God kind of flow. I flow with God's unction,
Okay.
and so I try to tell people all the time. A lot of times, people are afraid to step out on what God has given them because they can't see. Well, what's step one, step two, step three, step four? Well, just take that first step.
Yes.
When you take that first step, God will show you the next step. And the funny thing about God is he could have $1 billion waiting for you 3 steps down. He will not tell you, hey, I got $1 billion waiting for you. He's not, all he's gonna tell you is, hey, go that way. And
Yeah.
it's up to you to do it.
Faith. You gotta have that faith.
You gotta do it. You gotta do it. What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah. That's a master beauty in this journey, man. I love hearing this, and it makes me think of like another question I have for you is like, what's your approach when somebody like with dealing with talent? For example, authors. How does one approach you? How do you seek? Do you seek out new talent to maybe publish, help them publish? Like, what's that process look like?
I'm a little different in that respect.
Yeah.
I believe this to my core. I believe everybody should write a book. Um, it's not about talent. And
Yes.
the reason it's not about talent is because that's my job. If you
Okay.
can't write, my job is to turn your words into what they need to be, right? All we need is the potential. All we need is the raw material.
Yes.
And that's why you get a team, you know,
Yes.
to develop what God has in you, what God is telling you to write, what God is telling you to share,
Okay.
And so when somebody comes to me and they say, I want to write a book, I have clients and the only thing they had was journal notes.
Hmm.
And we turned those journal notes into a 300-page book that is pretty amazing. In fact, if I may say so myself. But my point being, all you need is the obedience to step out. It's not about talent. It's not about ability. It's about obedience to God's calling on your life. If God gave you a message, if you have experienced things in this life that can help somebody else,
Yes.
right? Sharing that in a book allows you to reach other people, and don't worry about the the ability and the talent. Like, bring people into your circle who can help you do that. Like, think about this.
Yes.
You think the president of the United States, whoever it may be,
Yeah.
you think they are so smart that they can handle everything that the country has to deal with? No,
Not at
they
all.
have people set up, right? And then
Yes.
they make that final decision to trust the words of the people who are on the team. Why
Yes.
do we feel like everything we want to do, we got to be perfect with it, right? We got to know everything about it. You don't. So, long way around that question is, I don't look at talent, I look at purpose. I
Yes.
look at what is the purpose that God is trying to fulfill in your life, and how can I use my talents to help you fulfill that?
I love that.
Yeah.
That leads me, like, because what you're talking about with how you looking for talent and how you helping them find their purpose, like, what would you define as like an ultimate goal for True Vine Publishing, or is there one? Because everybody doesn't have, like, people ask me as an actor or producer, hey, what does a end game look like for you? I was like, I can do this the rest of my life.
Mhm.
I don't have an end
Yeah.
game. You
Yeah.
know, I look at what I do as ministry. So last time I checked in the Bible, there's nobody I know retired. Nobody.
Right. Right.
You did it until it's time to go
Right.
home.
It's time to go home.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I don't know about retirement like that.
Yeah. My goal is, I want to change the world. Okay.
Right?
This is what I mean by that. I believe authors change the world by changing people's lives.
Hmm.
Right. If there's a parable that says, not a parable, but there's a saying: if you throw a pebble in the ocean, you'll change the tide. Right.
Yes.
Which to me says that no matter how small you think your experience is, it has a ripple effect that expands far beyond your reach, right?
Yes.
So if we think about this, Martin Luther King read a book by Gandhi.
Hmm.
That book influenced the way he thought about social justice, right?
Yes.
Nonviolence, resistance. He took that one person who
Yes.
read the book by the one person, took
Yes.
that, and he started to infect his surrounding, I won't say impact his surroundings
Yes.
in a small little city, right? And
Yes.
that city decided, all right, thanks for that knowledge, Martin Luther King. We're going to follow you, and we're not going to ride buses. And so the bus boycott changed the way America looks at segregation.
Yes.
This one person wrote a book. This other person read that book who impacted his community. His community impacted the city.
Yes.
The city impacted the state. The state impacted the country, and the country impacted the world. So if you write a book that can impact somebody's life, you may not see it, but you would have changed somebody there's going to be a ripple effect of impact and change that comes because of your book.
Uh
And
huh.
that's why I think my goal for this company, and what I believe God has told me, is this will be a world changing publishing company. We're going to produce books that change people, that help people, and therefore we're going to change the world.
Man, do you know what that lines right up with?
What's that?
Matthew 28:18 through 20. Go ye
Mm-hmm.
into the world, and baptize in the name of the Father and Son. And
Yeah.
but also, we have our Jerusalem, we have our Judea, and our Samaria. Then
Mm-hmm.
all parts of the world. The way you described it are all those rings that we have.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's inspiring, man. You really are. This publishing company is very much so lined up biblically, but
Yeah.
also is lined up to really draw people in and help people understand. It's like, no, we're not just trying to hit where you live.
Right. Right.
That ripple, that pebble that drops.
Right.
And man, I wish I'd have known you when I was writing my first book because when I published it, I told my wife, I was like, baby, I don't care if one person or a million people buy it. I wrote it for me because it
Yeah.
was a book of healing. But I
Right.
was just telling, not an autobiography, but it allowed me to heal by writing that book.
Right.
But I wish
Right.
I had met you while I was writing it,
Yeah.
but God was like, I still got some stuff for you.
Yeah.
Um, who in your life keeps you growing and going? Because we all got to have somebody or something.
Right. Right. So, um, my family is my catalyst for all that I do. Right. I'm a huge family man. So I want to leave a legacy for my kids.
Yes.
I want my family to be proud of me. I
Yes.
want my kids to be able to say, that's my dad,
Oh,
right? So they without knowing it, although I'm sure, it's kind of a known, but without knowing it, they are my motivation, they are my push.
yes.
Um, all of my life I was told you are a proper child.
Hmm.
Okay. Uh, from the time I was born, my grandfather, these are stories I heard. My
Yes.
grandfather looked at me, he said, "Oh, that's a proper child."
Yeah.
And then um, went to church, and my pastor told my parents, "That's a proper child." Um, so that is a big push for me. I
Yeah.
want to live up to that. I want to be a vessel for God, right? I want to live up to that um not expectation, but I guess prophecy that
Yeah.
God has his hand on my life and he's going to use me.
Hmm.
I want to live up to that. And I tell you something, man, having that spoken over your life,
Yes.
that can be tough
Yeah.
because there's a long time where you feel like you're crap and there's nothing good about you, right?
Right. Right. Yes.
so, so that is a very big push for me is to always be always I say this prayer sporadically. God, I just want to be anointed by you,
Yeah.
right? If I don't have money, if I don't have wealth and fame,
Yeah.
if I know that I'm in God's perfect will and I'm being used for Him,
Yes.
then I'll be okay, right?
Most important
That
thing.
and maybe easier said than done.
Yeah.
Like if God was to take everything from me right now, I don't know how I'd feel, but I know that's what I want in my heart.
Yeah.
Right,
We don't want. Hey, I'll keep it real. I don't want Job's testimony.
exactly.
I don't want that one.
Exactly. We can act hard if we want to, but let's just be real. We
I
do
don't want it.
not want that smoke.
No, I don't want
Right, right.
it.
And then I'll say this as well. Um, everyone needs to have a partner,
yes.
right? That they need the Jonathan for their David or the David for their Jonathan. They need an accountability partner. And I have an accountability partner, business partner, in the person, a guy named Adrian Davis. He's a personal development coach.
Yes.
And he and I push each other.
Hmm.
There was a time when I said, I'm done publishing books. I'm done with this company. I don't want to do it anymore.
Mm.
His response was, sell it to me then. If you're not going to do it, I'm not going to let this business fail. And I know he didn't want to buy it. But
Right.
what he was saying to me was, you're not going to give up on something that has, purpose and has potential. And that was, I was like, oh, I ain't gonna sell it. If sometimes, sometimes when somebody else wants something, it's like, no, that's mine. I'll keep it.
Give it back.
So yeah, he's a very big help in my life, a blessing in my life as well. Just being that accountability, that person that's like, dude, you starting to slip. You need to quit
Yes.
playing. What are you doing? Why haven't you done this? So those are the three areas where I feel like, really push me.
I love that. One of my pastors, when I was in Cleveland, Ohio, I worked
Mhm,
occasionally as a minister for several years.
mhm,
And the pastor I worked under is New Community Bible Fellowship, Kevin James in Cleveland Heights, Ohio. Anybody in that area, go check that church
mhm,
out. Very loving people, good Bible teaching church. But he used to always tell me, make sure you have three people in your life. You need a Paul, that type of personality, somebody who's causing you to step your game up, always pulling you.
mhm,
You need a Barnabas, somebody who's similar on your level, whether it's maturity wise, life experience wise. So y'all are walking together, sharpening each other. Then you need a Timothy.
mhm.
You need a Timothy in your life. You need somebody that's going to keep pulling up. And, God has given me all those types of people in my life. And I
Mhm,
laugh because my Timothy is is really like my son and daughter starting off because they're grown
mhm.
now, but they just they hold me accountable to a lot of things I taught them.
Right,
So,
right.
so it's like,
Yeah,
wow,
yeah.
like you got a bucket of ice water every time you do something outside of
Right,
what you taught them.
right, right.
So, but it's beautiful because that shows they remembered it. But I
Mhm.
love that principle, and I really advise everybody I talk to. I was like, if you want to grow, get
Yeah,
three type of personalities in your life. It can be a
right.
woman holding you accountable because my wife is like Barnabas,
Yeah,
and sometimes she can be like Paul.
right. Right, right, right.
26 years of marriage,
Yeah,
she can give me some guidance.
that's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, she's a good woman, and I really I like to ask this question too. Like you, when you started the company, there was definitely a period of probably breaking some eggs, making this omelet that you got right now that you serve every day.
Mhm.
What would you tell your younger self while you're like go back if you can go back a few years and talk to your younger self like, hey, okay, you get ready to hit this, you get ready to hit this, this is what you need to be ready for in starting a publishing company.
Oh man, you said we got 30 minutes? Is we
Hey, if we
I
have to
could
do a
write a
part
whole
two.
book. I could write a whole book. I would first tell myself, I would first tell myself to value my time
Hmm,
and my and what I offer.
okay.
I would tell myself to value my time and what I offer.
Gotcha.
Ronnie, when I first started, my first client, okay, my first client, I was so afraid to charge her.
Oh
I
wow. Yeah.
offered,
Yeah.
I offered to pay for I offered to pay to split the cost. I was that terrified
Yeah.
of telling someone I'm gonna charge you $1,500.
Yeah.
Okay. Luckily, she was a friend and
Yeah.
she got frustrated with me. She was like, she was like, as I'm hemming and hawing on the phone, she was like, well, look, just think about it and call me back with a price. And that gave me a chance to get out of that mindset that I was in and take some deep breaths in charge, right?
Yeah.
And give her a price. But, and this is something that I have learned even today, you have to value your time and you have to value your worth, right?
Yes.
You have to be okay with not being the service for everyone.
Okay.
You don't go, right? When
Yeah.
you go to your restaurant, your favorite restaurant, you don't go to that restaurant and say, $30 for a steak. How much did you pay for the steak? Well, how much time are you spending cooking the steak, right?
You
You
don't
pay
ask
the
them.
price.
Yeah. You
But a
ask.
lot of times we get intimidated as business people
Mm-hmm.
and we hold ourselves accountable to things like, well, it really didn't take me. Well, I know I'll speak for me. It really didn't take me that long to do it. Is it really fair to charge this amount, right? But then what I'm learning as I continue to grow
Yes.
is that the value you're offering your clients, they're making way more,
Yeah.
right, than you're getting,
Way more.
right? I'm providing people a book that they can sell forever,
Yes.
right? Now this 30 hours or 100 hours that I put in, I get paid once for that.
Yeah.
they can get paid forever,
Yeah.
right? So you have to appreciate and value what you bring to the table and your worth, right? That would be the first thing I tell myself. Second thing I would tell myself is read more books.
Mm.
Read, read. Because in this business,
Yes.
to be a good writer, you have to be a good reader. And
Yes.
so I would definitely tell myself to read more, read everything you possibly can. And lastly, I would say do it afraid.
Mm.
Do
Yeah.
do whatever it is.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. If you're afraid to do it anyway.
Yeah.
Even I would tell myself there is no such thing as perfection.
Mm.
Just do it. Even if you do it crappy. If you
Yeah.
continue to do it, you will continue to get better. And before you know it,
Yes.
you will be better than anybody else, right?
Yes.
So, and I'm sure you've experienced that too. I'm sure when you first started acting, you was probably,
Hey, I still do it afraid.
right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a few things that just come to the top of my head, man.
I love that. And I was just like, I like to, I wanted people to get a feel for what you do and really to get an opportunity to meet you so they
Mhm.
can know that there are opportunities. If they have something, a vision to write something, they have a place to go and something
Yeah,
that's help them get it done. But
yeah.
another question I have is, do you deal with the like audio books as well too? Like help them get the book on audio and stuff like that? If they, yeah, because that's another.
God has blessed me to um, anything related to publishing a book.
Yeah.
I can do it for you, and I am in the process of a partnership
Yeah.
of developing a partnership with another uh, lady institution that handles the marketing and
Gotcha.
showing people how to effectively and profitably market, because that's one of the things I don't do. I don't execute marketing. I'm more of the production and consulting,
Yes.
but um, I am that close, and I'm going to do my research on it, but that close to really filling in that puzzle, and then it's a wrap from there. We
I
do
like
it all. We do it all.
I,
Yeah.
I love it. If somebody wants to reach you, get in contact with you to try to talk to you about a book they're working on, a project
Yeah.
they're working on, what channels do you want them to take?
Go to my website, truevinepublishing.org. And there I have links in almost every square inch where you can set appointments.
Okay.
But go to my website, truevinepublishing.org. If you want to check me out on social media, I like to have a lot of fun on social media. So, my TikTok, my Instagram is Tim the Publisher, TIM the Publisher.
Yeah.
So check me out on TikTok, on Facebook. I have True Vine Publishing on Facebook.
Yeah.
Timothy O. Bond is my personal. But yeah, any of those want to call me, 615 44 books. You need to publish 44 books.
Okay. Hey,
But yeah,
I might want to take that challenge.
oh yeah, I would love to throw that in. We are currently doing a campaign. This is probably one of my most ambitious campaigns.
Yes.
It's the Q4 Author Rally, and basically, this last quarter of the year, I want to publish 30 new authors, and we are a third of the way there.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
but I don't want people to go into another year afraid to take this step. Like I said, I make sure that if it's money, we got payment plans. We can work with your own money.
Oh
If
wow.
it's ability, I do manuscript coaching
Mm-hmm.
and co-writing where I will literally sit with my clients and go over every line and write every line with them. So if it's about ability, we can help you on that. And if it's about time, we can help you on that. We can help you develop a strategy to meet timelines. So Um, I just want to encourage everyone who's out there, if you have been toiling with this notion of a book that you want to write, just take the step. Do it afraid. I promise you. I can't help you until you take the leap, but when you take the leap, I will not let you fall.
Man, you got me all pumped up. I know we're running short on time. I'm a firm believer, especially what I do for a living. I like to leave people wanting more.
Yeah.
If you give everybody what in one scoop, they ain't coming back to the restaurant no more.
Right. Right.
But I do want to thank you for your time today. We're talking to the Produce Your Life show and
Yeah.
sharing about this vision of True Vine Publishing. Um, I am going to actually make sure my wife actually watches this interview too because she is an English teacher out here and she's a writer as well. So,
Awesome.
and I've been trying to urge her for the longest. She has so many stories to tell,
Mhm.
like it's time to get them out, get them
Yeah.
out. And to me, I'm a firm believer that writing is also therapy. It's healing.
Yeah.
It's
Absolutely.
very healing for you. Like if you're dealing with trauma from your past, start writing about it
Yeah.
and watch the healing take place on the inside. So
Absolutely.
I just want to thank you, and I'm looking forward to seeing this company explode. Uh,
Hey.
you are needed. As one of our friends, she has made the phrase, "You are necessary."
Mhm.
Natalie, you'll know that if you watch this interview. You are
Mhm.
absolutely necessary, and we need you bringing and helping other creators tell their stories right now.
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, so we go pause for 1 second, and then what I'm gonna do, give it about 10 second little air,
Okay.
something for me to cut up.
Okay. Okay.
that, that's an editing note. So like right now we're just talking, but
Okay.
what I'm gonna do is invite you to another Zoom because I'm keeping it real. I don't pay for that premium Zoom. I do the 40 minutes. I was paying for it at one point. I'm like, why am I paying $20 a month and I never go over 40 minutes? And
uh,
and it's like they're getting me. And I was like,
yeah.
I ain't doing that no more. So
Right. Right.
what I'm gonna do is I'm getting ready to invite you to another Zoom, and we gonna talk. If we got about 10 more minutes, you and I can just talk. Um,
Absolutely.
and actually, we're gonna do a quick promo for the promo, like a promo for your interview, because I like to record
Okay.
a promo that's like 10 seconds. You can just, I want you to say with energy, "What's up, yo? I'm Tim, whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
Come check me out on the Produce Your Life show coming up,
Okay.
stuff like that." Yeah, so
Okay.
yeah, so
Produce your life show.
yeah, so
Okay.
produce your own live show. So I'm going to send you of a new link, and we're going to stop this recording real quick. And
Okay.
hold on 1 second.